Hi, this is Tony Harris Taylor with another episode of the Drastic Results with Tony Harris Taylor Show. And today we have a repeat guest because he took advantage of being an author in the viral networking book. And so I'm super excited to reintroduce to you and present to others Mr. Glenn Walker. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
I am wonderful. You know, I appreciate you taking advantage of being a part of the book project. And we're just going to talk about your networking. And before we got on the call, we actually took a look at some of your results through NIA and beyond, right? And so we're going to talk
Yes.
about how networking for you is going viral. So first, who are you and what do you do?
All right, so I am Glenn Walker, owner of Greater Wealth Financial Services. And I'm a student of the business, of financial planning, Tony. I've been in the industry close to 10 years now, and I see myself doing this another 30, 40 years. Well, I'll say 30 years. I got to have an exit strategy. But yeah, so I'm definitely a student of the business. Really love what I do and passionate about helping people and really about making a financial change in people's futures.
Yeah. And you're specifically about young families because you have a
Yes.
young family. So tell us a little bit about your family and why families is your passion.
Awesome, awesome. So, family is everything, to me, Tony. And because growing up, I lost my dad 2 days after I graduated high school, and just feeling that I was vulnerable. Money really helps you feel secure. And I believe the Bible talks about that as well. It's a security blanket that we have. And sometimes when we don't feel secure about our money, it kind of affects us in a lot of other areas as well. But reason why I help young families is because when we graduate college, when we buy our first house, there's so many things that are bombarding us, so many things that are coming to us that we don't know how to manage it all. We don't know how to handle it all. And a lot of times people make big financial mistakes that set them back for generations.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest things that I see that young families get into is debt, and it really just kind of limits their potential as far as what they can do with their families, what they can do, in their futures. It impacts so much, Tony. It really does.
Absolutely, it does. And so you're a father of three. Congratulations. You
Mhm.
got a new baby.
Thank you so much. Oh
And
my
you
goodness. Thank you. And today actually makes 1 week.
Yay, yay. And this will air much later, but I'm just excited for your family. So
Nice.
now listen, I remember
Yes.
when you came to me, you had just
Mm,
quit the job
I
to
did.
become an entrepreneur. So how did becoming an entrepreneur, how did that come about?
Oh man. So I honestly it came about trying like I'm a numbers guy, so I'm trying to get the right numbers, but it really came about honestly when I was in high school. I didn't know what it was at the time. I just knew, like, honestly, I didn't even know what entrepreneur was. I'm just like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have my own business. And even while I was in high school, middle school, I would go around cutting my neighbors' yards, trimming their bushes and whatnot. So, I always had an entrepreneur mindset. And even while working on the jobs, I'm like, man, like, what can I do for myself? Because ultimately, Tony, what I desire is freedom. I like the freedom that I have right now, just being able to be at home with my wife and my kids, and not have to ask anybody or say, hey, can I take time off or whatnot, but truly having freedom, because I have a vision for my life. And that's to be able to travel, that's to be able to spend quality time with my family, because life is so short.
Mm,
And I know when we get jobs, and there's nothing wrong with jobs, by the way, but when we get jobs, we get caught up into a rat race, and it's kind of like we go from paycheck to paycheck, and I feel like it really, for me, at least for me, I'm not speaking for anybody else, it really, to me, wastes a lot of time. I'm like, man, I can be doing something else. I can be, traveling and driving, um, And even when I was working at Chase, and I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but when I was working at Chase, just being able to see cars pass by, I'm like, where are they going?
Where they
I
go.
want to go.
I don't want to be tied
It
to this
just
desk.
right. And like I didn't want to go to the same building every day, day after day and whatnot. But entrepreneurship is excellent. It definitely takes a lot of mental toughness. But truly, I just wanted the freedom. Like honestly, it's not about the money, but it's about the freedom.
Okay, very good. So you start your business. And what made you say, I have to start networking?
Because I believe in the ideology, Tony, that in order to be great, I have to be around other people.
Mhm.
Greatness, people that are great do not become great on their own. Neither do they keep their greatness to themselves. That's the quote that
Mhm.
I created years ago. And I knew that in order for me to do something big, that I had to have a team. I had to be around people, because that's what it's all about. Business is not about building, like, let's say, actual building, but it's about building people, building relationships with people. And once you start building relationships with people, that's when you start building a business. Because right now, Tony, because of networking, my business has been predominantly referrals, and that's only in the first year. Most businesses don't become referral based within like the first year. It takes a couple years for them to get their name out there, to start building credibility with people. But within the first year, a lot of my business has been from referrals,
Mhm.
which has been awesome. you
Yes,
know
yes, very good. I love what you said. Nobody can build a business on their own. And you knew from the gate that you had to be around other like minded professionals, which led you to joining NIA. So
yes.
now, when it comes to networking, there are so many emotions. People either love it or they hate it. So, where do you fall on the networking scale?
It depends on what day it is.
That is very true. It's
No,
true for me
but
too.
yeah, but truly, Tony, I am a natural introvert. Like, I'm actually introverted more than anything, to be honest. So when I go to a networking event, I have to mentally prepare myself, to kind of be around a social environment. Because after leaving a social environment, I'm literally mentally drained about being around so many people. So I have to kind of monitor and meter myself when I go to these events. So when I go to a networking event, I have to say, okay, what is my goal? I do not go to a networking event without having a goal first of how many people am I going to talk to, and who am like how many meetings am I going to set? Because if I go there trying to talk to the whole room, I'm literally not going to go and come back. I really have to limit myself, and I call it metering. I have to meter, set meters.
I love that. I love that. That's great advice. You have to set a goal and meter yourself. You
Yeah.
cannot meet everybody in the room. And I think
Hmm.
that's the problem when people are exhausted by the thought of networking is because they feel like they have to work a room. But it's really not. It's about quality over quantity. That's why big rooms, I'm not impressed by big numbers in the room. Now, a lot of people like that, but I really believe that it's more about digging deeper on the relationships that are in the room versus big rooms. So
Right.
good advice. Now, since the pandemic, and you and I met during the pandemic, virtual networking has become more popular. So, what tips can you share to maximize virtual networking?
All right. So my tips to maximize virtual networking is to make sure you have your virtual business set up. And what I mean by that, I mean, when you're on Zoom link, make sure you have your copy and paste for all your information, like your phone number, email address, website, all that stuff. So that way it's already there. You gotta be ready for the opportunity, and by being ready too, you want to make sure you have your social media set up too, like your Facebook, LinkedIn, and all that good stuff there, so people can follow you and find you. So virtual networking, honestly, it's a little bit easier if you're prepared. If you're prepared, then it's a lot easier because you only have to set it up one time and then make changes as you go. So once you set up your website, once you set up your social media and all that, only thing you have to do is copy and paste, and you're good to go.
I love it. That's so good. You've been taught well. You're
Thank
such
you,
a
Tony.
good
Thank you.
student.
Oh goodness. Honestly, I found you and I held on because I knew that you had that golden nugget for me. I knew that I could call you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you've talked about the freedom, flexibility to being an entrepreneur. But Glenn, I know because you and I office in the same space and you've sat on my
Yes.
couch more than once. I know this journey for the first year has not been easy. So, what has kept you in the game? What has kept you from going to get a job?
Uh, uh, wow, Tony, that is a really, really good question. Seriously. What has kept me from getting a job? First, I think it's the vision that I have.
Mhm.
The vision that I have for my kids, the vision that I have for my life, and that vision is to have freedom. It's all about the freedom. I'm going to come back to the freedom, but then also, Tony, it's about the faith. It's about knowing that things are going to work out. And there's an analogy I love to use. I call it the ram in the bush. Because like the closer you get to your goals, the closer you get to your vision, God will start to provide what you need at that time. A lot of times the reason people may not become entrepreneurs is because they can't see the whole journey. They see, okay, I'm here and I want to be there, but then they don't see the little streets that it takes to get to those, to get to your destination. But really though, you gotta take the leap, you gotta take the step, and then everything will fall into place.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it's about having faith, to be honest, because that's really what I'm holding on to. And truthfully, being an entrepreneur has been the biggest faith journey that I've ever been on. More than
Absolutely.
anything else, it's the biggest faith journey that I've been on. So it's really about keeping the faith, staying faithful to your vision, and never giving up.
Yay. I'm so proud of
Yeah.
you. So tell me about a time that you didn't want to show up, you pushed ahead, and you're glad you did.
Mm, mm. So I'll say that there was a networking event at my church. I didn't want to show up because there was just so much going on. Life, family. Like I'm telling you, overwhelmed always. But when you show up, you meet quality people. You make those connections, and out of it business comes. So for me showing up to like an event that I didn't want to go to, I found some business there. So it's always, you always need to show up the most when you don't feel like it,
Ooh,
because
say
that's
that
when
again for the
because
people in the
that's
back. Say it again for the people in the back of the
you always
room.
need to show up when you the most when you don't feel like it, because that's when the breakthrough is right there. There's a saying, 3 feet from gold. Right when you want to give up, and you're right there before that breakthrough, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. Got to keep
Man,
showing up.
that is
Yes,
wise
yes.
wisdom. Yes, when you don't show up, especially like when you have that internal struggle, like I don't want to go. My thing is, I
Yeah,
don't want to put my hair on. I don't want to put my face on. I don't want to drive across town. And if you start having a lot of that angst about showing up, that's when
yeah.
you need to go the most because there's
There you go.
somebody there. And it only takes one somebody to
Does,
change the game.
does. It does. And business is all about compounding too. It just compounds on each other. Like that one person may turn into another person that may turn to another person. So business compounds on itself. The efforts that we
Relationships
put in,
compound
yes,
on themselves.
relationships compound. And
Yes.
that, man, and compound interest, I love compound interest, Tony. I'm telling you, that compound interest is what makes people rich, and it's also what makes people poor. Is compound interest. It either works for you or it works against you. And in relationships, compounding your relationships with people, it works for you in business.
Consider that stolen, young man.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Consider that stolen. I am
Hmm.
definitely going to be using compounding relationships. Thank you so much.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
even though we're figuring out networking, there we all have challenges when it comes to networking. So, what is one of your challenges you have with networking?
Getting in my own head, the head trash that I have about, do they like me? Or, you kind
Mm.
of talk to people and be like, did I come across the right way? We criticize ourselves so much, and you were like, we want to be liked. Everybody has a big sign on their chest that says, tell me something good about myself. They want to feel special, you know, as an entrepreneur myself, my job is to make other people feel comfortable around me, and also one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn, Tony, is that not everybody's going to like you. Like
Ah,
when I grew up, I always thought that, man, I'm like, man, everybody likes me. There's nothing to not like about me, right? But one of my mentors would told me, and it was the hardest truth that I ever had to swallow, is that not everybody's gonna like you, Glenn. And I was like, man, even still to today, it's hard for me to receive that, because I'm like, really, and it's always being instilled into me, because even somebody a couple months ago was like, hey, people are going to look for reasons not to like you, and I think that's one of the hardest things as well, is, who's going to accept you. It's about finding the right people that are going to accept you. And sometimes in business, there's a quote circulating around right now that talks about, sometimes it's easier for a client to become a friend than a friend to become a client. When you go into business for yourself,
oh,
when you go into business for yourself, sometimes you truly start to see who's there for you, and who just has the lip service, and it's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, but it is what it is.
you've said a mouthful there. I mean, I'm from that space too. I want everybody to like me. But here's the deal. When they don't like me, it ain't about me, Glenn. It ain't
Mm,
about you.
yeah.
It's something in their background, their upbringing, their issues. And some people you have to sit to the side and leave them where they are.
There you
So,
go, and that's about business too. You gotta sometimes keep people to the side and leave them where they are. Not everybody is going to be a friend. Not everybody's going to be a client, and you got to be okay with that.
and you got to be
Sometimes,
okay with
yeah.
that.
Sometimes when you try to make a client a client, and it's like, man, it might be better to leave that client alone, versus trying so hard to earn their business. I would rather take on a client that maybe I may not get paid as much, but if I have a great relationship with that person, I'll rather take them on as a client than somebody that I'll get paid a lot more money on and I don't have that relationship with them.
You said a
Because
mouthful. You
yes,
said a
yes.
mouthful. So tell me about a time that networking made a big difference in your business.
Hmm. Okay. So networking, just showing up, really, Tony, is half the battle, right? But then also when you network with other people, you start to, man, it's really about the relationships. I can't, touch on that enough. But then also it gives you a different paradigm shift too, because you start to see business and life from other people's eyes and point of views. And then also, depending on the event, you start to see something bigger. You start to see how everything kind of works together. You see the bigger picture. And that's how, showing up networking really impacts your business, because it impacts your mind.
Mm-hmm.
More than
Mm-hmm.
your business, you have to become, like, in order to be a millionaire, you have to become a millionaire first in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
being around the right people and being around the right environment, that right there helps change your mindset. So that way you start to believe more. It gives you that belief factor, that belief system. So showing up and networking really helps you believe, okay, this is possible.
Okay. So social media is a form of networking. How has social media helped you to grow your business?
Oh man, I am very surprised how many people have reached out to me on social media wanting to do business. In social media, there's a documentary on Netflix that talks about social media, and they really talk about the users. So social media is kind of like the new drug right now, Tony.
Well, yeah, it is.
It's very addicting. I was watching the news this morning, and the TikTok, it kind of triggers an addiction in our brain, right? So, and that, I think social media needs to be used responsibly as business owners, because you can use social media as 24-hour free advertising. So if you have an event coming up, you can post it on social media. If you have a success story, you post it on social media. And it's not about bragging, but it's about promoting. People are sold every day, 7 seconds out of the day, every day. We're always being sold something. So
Right.
social media can be a platform to help us be able to market our products and services to others.
Yes.
We may not get everybody, we
You're
may
not.
not get everybody, but at least people know what we do. And that's the biggest key is awareness, is making people aware of what you do and who you are in your business.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what mistakes have you seen entrepreneurs make when it comes to networking?
Hmm. There's so many. There's so many, but the biggest one, no, seriously, Tony, but the biggest one is card collecting, becoming a card holder, because once you start collecting cards, it's like, oh, hey, can I get your business card? And you keep moving, and then you leave with a pocket full of business cards thinking you did something, but at the same time, you built no relationships, you have no follow-up meetings. That was unsuccessful. Collecting cards is not networking. And you wonder who I got that from, right? So collecting cards is
Say it
not
again for
networking.
the people in the back of the room.
Yes. So collecting cards, that myth of, oh, I just did a whole bunch of networking, collecting cards, that's not true. Going to networking events without a strategic plan, without a strategy of how many people am I going to talk to and who is my niche referral partner. Because going to a networking event, if I go to a networking event with people that work on cows, there's no way they can refer quality business my way. Maybe, right? But at the same time, most likely that's not my niche, referral partner. So
Right.
it's not collecting business cards, not having a strategic plan, and also not networking with the right strategic partners.
You just said everything. You are such a good student. I love
Hey,
you, Big.
listen, Tony, I have to be. Honestly, my business is the only way my family's eating.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 days after not 2 days, but a week after I left my job, my wife was laid off. It was crazy. So I had to really become a student of the business. And like I said earlier, that's why, I'm still here, is because I'm always learning. Becoming a student of the business is what keeps you in the business long enough to build a business.
Love it.
Because if I had the mindset that I knew everything, that I could do everything, I would be out of business quicker than anything than you wouldn't believe. So it's about keeping that open mindset and always learning.
Love, love, love everything that you're saying. So, what does it mean, Glenn, for you to show up? What's it mean to show up?
Hmm. Be present, be present, because you can show up and your mind is somewhere else.
Yes.
So when you show up to an event, when you show up to anything, you want to make sure that your whole person is there. And what I mean by that is that, that your dress is right, that you have your outfit looking good, that, your mind is right. Because if your mind is not right, then you're going to wish you were somewhere else.
Mm.
You can show up and everything, but if your mind is not right, you're always going to be thinking like, man, I could be doing this, I need to be doing that. You got to be fully present in that moment, at that event, with that person, in order for the sparks to fly.
So, following up, that's probably one of the hardest things to do in networking. So, what's your best strategy for following up?
There's so many, but I think a good one is I call it a drip campaign.
Mm.
Where you email clients, once a week, periodically, and it's automatic. Following up should be automatic. And that's why, CRM systems are so important as well, is having those automatic systems that follow up with people, because the fortune is in the follow up. I'm sure we all heard of that. But, because 2% of people that we meet, anytime, are ready to buy right away. So that means that 98% of people, you have to follow up with them in order to earn their business. And people also value that you follow up, because they're like, man, this guy's persistent. That means they care. That that means that they're there for me. So when somebody follows up, that, man, it shows that they're passionate, that they really care.
I love it.
I always love working with people that do not, even if I forget, that they don't forget, and they're like, hey, I'm still thinking about you. I'm still there for you. Just touching base with people makes a big difference in business.
Absolutely.
And I know we all have stories, but I think you have the best story about, the person following up for NIA, with you, so I'm telling you, you never know where you're going to find your next superstar. So following up with people makes the world of difference. The world of difference.
Yes, I do have the best story. And the lesson learned from that story is it's never too late to follow up. So
No.
She and I met at an event, networking event, if you will. We met at an event. She did not follow up for 3 months. She said she had my card on her desk and she saw it every day. But the day she followed up was the right day. So for those of you who are listening or reading, it's just follow up. And
Yes.
not only that, to keep from having to follow up, book the appointment on the spot. That's a whole nother.
There you go.
That's a whole nother lesson. So when you look up the definition of viral, it talks about, spreading all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
But someone else told me a definition of viral is people are talking about you when you're not in the group. So tell me how your networking has gone viral.
Still working on that one, Tony. I'm still working on that, how my networking has gone viral. Whew, that was on. All right, I should have. Was that? Yeah, it's right there, number 15. How has my networking gone viral? Tony, I'm still working on that one, Tony. I really am, because I see how your web spreads out, and I'm still I haven't looked at my networking yet to see how it's spread out. Because
let's now wait a minute. Okay,
yes, go ahead.
So we just went through your NIA report, right?
Yes.
So you're the hub. Each of those referrals, right, are spokes. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I guarantee you, if you looked a little bit closer at those people, some of those people have referred you to people.
Yes.
So don't sell yourself short.
I got you. So yeah. So it, to go by, man, I'm still, because when I think about viral to me is more like the online way of going viral.
Right.
So maybe my definition of viral is kind of limited. So I need to expand it a little bit more. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and for me, so compound, I like to use the word compounding since I'm in the financial industry. So compounding and viral to me are like the same thing. Sure. So how my business and my networking has compounded, so it compounded tremendously. So, from one referral, meeting the family, and if they like 15 clients or even more than that, so it compounds, starting from that one, starting from, and I like the compound interest that one penny, like one little penny compounded, double. Can you hear me, Tony?
Yes, the internet is
Okay,
slow, but yes,
I
the penny
see.
compounding. Go ahead.
Yes, so it starts from that one little penny, and it can start from that one client, and, and that's why in my business is to really service them and make the most of that relationship, and that's really what business is about, is making the most of every relationship.
Okay, very good. So we're almost done.
Okay.
You've done a couple of quotes. Okay, Glenn. So describe how your networking has gone viral.
Okay. So I earlier I was mentioning the penny, right? So it starts with one, so that one penny doubled every day for 1 month turns into over $10 million. So in that regards to business, let's say one client that refers one another person that refers another person, that right there, if I have one client that refers one person and that person refers another person, my business will literally quadruple in a matter of 1 month. And that's how, I use the word compounding. Compounding in my business is the way that I grow my business, is that it compounds over time. So meaning that it goes viral. And it starts with one, and that's why working with your, current clients or your warm market, or people that who knows you, that's why it's so important to build those relationships and have that solid foundation, so that way you can make the most out of each relationship.
Awesome.
Because one person, honestly, Tony, can change your whole business. And honestly, for some people that don't have a big market, that literally some people have built great businesses off of just one person, because they do such a good job at servicing that client and asking for referrals and maybe helping that client in a multitude of different ways, that one person literally can take, you can take over the whole world with that. So I think a lot of times we feel like we need to have a lot of clients, like we need to be retail,
Right.
but the thing about retail is that there's no, that personal service isn't there. It's like in and out, and just kind of like dating or being in a marriage, you don't want a relationship where you're in and out,
Right.
so having that, so how my business has gone viral is having quality relationships with my clients and servicing them, where they refer me to other like-minded qualified people, and then my business builds that way. And then some clients, they may start personal, and then they may have a business one day, and then I can help their business. Or they may start out business and realize, hey, I need you on the personal aspect of things. So really, it's all about, quality relationships and doing the right things for your client. And that's what's going to compound your business over time. It's not
Awesome.
about quantity, but it's about the quality.
Right.
I would, like I said, Tony, like it's kind of like friends, right? I'd rather have four quarters than 100 pennies. You still get the same dollar, right? But I'd rather have deeper relationships with fewer people than a very shallow relationship with very many.
Awesome. I
And even in
love
my
it.
practice, yeah, yeah, and
I
even in my
love
practice,
that. And
Tony,
it's that's why network in action works, right? And you don't have
yes,
to have a deep relationship with every member of network in action. It's just a few. But when
absolutely,
you dig deeper, they become your go-to referral partners. And you've experienced that with a couple people
I
in the
have,
group as well. So
I have.
your words of wisdom. So we're almost done. The
Okay.
next question is, what's your favorite quote around networking or connecting?
I might get it wrong, but I'm saying anyway. It's, you got to show up, you got to be up, you got to follow up to blow up. So I might get that wrong, but that's
You got it perfect.
But also,
You got it
my
perfect.
mom says this. My mom told me this. It's not about who you know, but it's about who knows you and what you do. So it's truly about who knows you, Tony, and who knows what you do. Because once like your reputation is everything in business.
Absolutely.
You got to have a great reputation because it's the easiest thing. It's the hardest thing to build, but the easiest thing to lose.
Yes.
So it's really about who knows you and who knows the quality of service that you do. That makes the biggest difference.
Absolutely. Yay. So what final thoughts can you offer entrepreneurs who are hesitant to network?
All right. So as an introvert myself, and I don't know if they're introverted or extroverted, but have a plan when you go into a networking event. Don't just try to take the whole floor because you will burn yourself out and not have quality relationships. Have a plan when you go in there. How many people do you want to talk to and connect with? And book the one-to-one on the spot. You don't want to leave that event without having a calendar scheduled appointment with them, and just have fun. Be yourself.
I love that.
It's all about that. It's all about that.
As long as
Yes.
being yourself is fun, because some of y'all being
Yes.
yourself.
Man,
It just
and sometimes when there's alcohol involved, people just like limit that too. You don't go to networking events to drink alcohol. Meet the person that you want to meet with and maybe take them out to drink with you, but don't drink in front of everybody because, like I said, somebody sees you under the influence or whatever, you might say something or do something that might turn somebody the opposite direction. So
Absolutely.
always be present. And that means in your mind too. Don't go there and try to drink it up just to kind of feel loose. Because some people feel like they have to drink in order to talk to people or kind of be social drinkers or whatever. But just if you feel that way, like it's probably better not to go than to go. But just yeah, just be careful with that.
Self-control.
Yes.
So tell everybody how to get in touch with you, sir.
Awesome. So my email address is Glenn Walker at financialguide.com, and that's GUIDE, financialguide.com. And my office number, I have that. I actually got an office number, Tony.
Awesome.
Yeah, let me get that. It's going to be 281-397-3577. That's my office number. Contact me anytime. I'm here.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Glenn, so much for sharing your experience with networking. Congratulations on surviving your first year, and congratulations on baby Chloe.
Thank you so much.
Another member of the NIA family. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. Bye.